We're going to go to Gettysburg.
We're really liking this park.
It's nice.
Nice, big park. Never used this app before, so we're going to see how good it is.
I think I'm still like in awe.
The Battle of Gettysburg marked the turning point of the Civil War.
That's Battlefield Sally.
Of the 2,996 Union troops.
The Union Center up there with a white, thin monument.
You notice at the top of that barn in that brick,
A spiral staircase leads up to the roof.
during the summer, they do taps.
Shall have a new birth of freedom.
We made it to Hershey, Pennsylvania. We've been here one night, and today is a holiday. So we're going to go to Gettysburg National Military Park. I've never been there before. Brian has, so he's wanted to take me there, and I'm excited because I am a huge Civil War buff, history buff, and I've been dying to go there.
I'm actually excited too. I've been to the Gettysburg, that battlefield area there, probably about 3 times, I think, but it was all during work when I was taking a course for training in Emmitsburg. This should be a little bit more enjoyable. Okay, not a little bit more, a lot more enjoyable. I got better company. We're really liking this park.
It's nice.
Nice, big park, kind of multi-levels a little bit, and big lake here by the big
Community
center. The beauty of this area when we were driving in, oh my god, it was just so neat. All the old buildings.
Yeah, because we took like some back roads. We were off like any interstate or anything like that, so we got to see like the really old houses and lots of Amish. Went through a few little old German towns.
That's what I was thinking of. Well, yeah, the countryside is beautiful too.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Those little German towns were really neat, the structures.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that anywhere we've been. Nothing much has changed. I mean,
right, yeah.
As far as building structures.
Stepping back in time.
Yeah. All right, enough chit-chatting. Get on this trip to Gettysburg.
Yay!
For quite a few years now, I've been hoping to get you here, and here we are.
We made it.
Always made me feel so guilty coming here when I was in training, and I hated to see this without Michelle, but now I don't have to feel that way no more. Let's see, visitor center, we've got multiple parking areas. They have different parking areas when you come here. All right. This is the 3rd time. All right, let's go check out the visitor center and then get back in the truck and do this tour. Excited?
Very.
Sit here real quick, have a snack, and then we're gonna go through the museum.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
and attack Richmond
Problems beset McClellan's grand campaign from the start. The first took place in the war.
Still, General Lee wants to attack. His three corps commanders, Generals Longstreet, Hill, and Ewell, are less for nearly 2 more years.
Over half the children were now in school.
I see you found a friend.
I did.
I think the museum is a good place to start before you go through the battlefield.
Oh, yes.
Again, it helps you understand what all went on there a little better.
I think I'm still like in awe of everything that we just took in there.
Welcome to historic Gettysburg. This hallowed ground is the site of one of the most important conflicts in American history, the Civil War Battle of Gettysburg.
I'm going to use an app. It's GPS activated, so it'll kind of talk about the areas as you're driving around. I've never used this app before, so we're going to see how good it is. And that way we'll let you know if it's worth buying, because it's $7, $6.99.
Continue straight.
Okay.
Hey, slow down. See that barn on the left? That's the only remnant of the McPherson farm that once crowned this ridge. Both sides used it as a makeshift hospital. Now, continue through the intersection. You'll pass a few monuments and then cross a bridge spanning railroad tracks.
The Battle of Gettysburg marked the turning point of the Civil War. With more than 50,000 estimated casualties, the 3-day engagement was the bloodiest single battle of the conflict.
Walk back to the bridge overlooking the railway cut. It's still the morning of July 1st. Buford's men have been reinforced by Reynolds and Cutler. Here, 3 regiments of infantrymen under Cutler try to hold their ground. The war so far has taken a great toll on his nation. If Lincoln can't end it soon, he stands no chance of enacting the reforms he envisioned. Notice that white pillar up ahead. That's the Eternal Light Peace Memorial. The memorial commemorates the reunification of the United States. Maine granite forms the base, while Alabama limestone forms the pillar, a symbolic unification of North and South. An eternal flame of peace burns at the top, representing an eternally united nation. In a close battle, sometimes the smallest thing can make a serious difference. Want an example? Fences. Back in the 1800s, most farms around Gettysburg were surrounded by wooden fences. They often zigzagged across the land, giving rise to nicknames like Virginia worm or snake fences. Farmers needed them to mark their property boundaries and to keep wild animals out of their crops. But during the battle for Gettysburg, these posed a real problem for Confederate troops. When charging at Union forces, Confederate soldiers often had to climb over these fences. This slowed them down and left them vulnerable to gunfire. There's a dog sculpted on the other side. That's Battlefield Sally. She served as a mascot of the 11th Pennsylvania Infantry and accompanied these Union soldiers for most of the Civil War. While at military camp, Sally drilled with the soldiers, lined up for dress parades, and marched with the horses at the front of the regiment. And each time the 11th Infantry saw battle, Sally was right there on the front line, barking furiously at the enemy soldiers. This is the North Carolina State Monument, commemorating the 32 regiments from North Carolina which fought in the battle here. It's a classic heroic scene, men charging forward with a banner, but with one main difference. The officer leading the charge is on the ground, wounded. This signals North Carolina's eventual defeat. Coming up on your left is the Longstreet Observation Tower. You can climb to the top and survey the same field on which Longstreet attacked the Union. Of course, a few things have changed since 1863.
This area we're coming to now is Little Round Top. And then that little area down there, do you know what that is? Devil's Den. So Devil's Den down there, we'll be going there here in a little bit.
Little Round Top was the site of an unsuccessful assault by Confederate troops against the Union left flank on July 2nd, 1863, the second day of the Battle of Gettysburg during the American Civil War. Little Round Top was successfully defended by a brigade under Colonel Strong Vincent, who was mortally wounded during the fighting and died 5 days later. The 20th Maine Volunteer Infantry Regiment, commanded by Colonel Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, fought its most famous engagement here, culminating in a dramatic downhill bayonet charge. The battle at Little Round Top subsequently became one of the most well-known actions at Gettysburg and of the entire war. Of the 2,996 Union troops engaged at Little Round Top, there were 565 casualties, 134 killed, 402 wounded, 29 missing. Confederate losses of 4,864 engaged were 1,185, 279 killed, 868 wounded, and 219 missing.
Men coming down a tree line through that red barn and breaking through the Union Center up there where the white thin monument is. Does this make sense?
It's hard to not take in the beautiful view instead of thinking about what happened there.
Yeah.
It's
A lot of lives lost.
yeah, very sad.
The area you'll cross through ahead has quite a macabre nickname, the Valley of Death. During the assault on Little Round Top, hundreds of Confederate soldiers sprint across this valley and try to scale the hill on the opposite side. But Union Brigadier General Samuel Crawford is ready for them. There's too much open ground, and the hill is much too steep. Union men defeat hundreds of Confederate soldiers trying to cross the avenue. The rocky ground ahead and on the right is the Devil's Den. Here, Confederate sharpshooters set up positions among the volcanic rocks. From the safety of the rocky cover here, they're able to pick off soldier after soldier on the Union side. Union soldiers tried to rush the position and drive the sharpshooters out, but time and again they fail. Their bodies lie alongside the Confederate soldiers, dead and dying. When you emerge on the other side, you'll see fields of wheat all around. Sounds fairly innocuous, right? Nope. While fighting rages on at Little Round Top, now behind us, Union soldiers stationed here notice something strange. Is something stirring in the wheat? Yes, Confederate soldiers. They're charging towards Cemetery Hill, where the center of the Union is vulnerable.
You notice at the top of that barn, in that brick, that's where a cannonball had went through.
Pennsylvania State Memorial. This monument commemorates the nearly 35,000 Pennsylvanian soldiers who fought in this battle. While the stakes were high for everyone, they were particularly intense for these men of Pennsylvania. They weren't fighting for an abstract ideal, they were fighting for their very state. Atop the dome is the sculpture of Nike, the goddess of victory and peace. The tip of her sword reaches 110 feet off the ground. The metal used actually came from melted down cannons used during the war. The statues around the pillars were added in 1913 and depict President Abraham Lincoln, Pennsylvania Governor Andrew Curtin, and the Pennsylvanian generals who fought in the battle. Inside the memorial, a spiral staircase leads up to the roof, where you can look out across this historic field.
So this memorial is for Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. It was actually given like 300 yards from here.
So every night at 7 p.m.
During the summer,
they do taps. It's kind of neat to experience. We just kind of ran into it. We didn't even hear about it. So we were kind of lucky and fortunate to be here.
It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.